we go. All right, welcome everybody. I'm Ann. There's Brian.
I'm Brian.
Today we're going to focus a little bit on expanding the lung capacity, as here in Maryland, coronavirus cases are going way up, and I figured the best we can do to kind of make sure that our lungs are working properly, all the better. So we're actually going to start the day standing up, and then we'll work our way down to seated and be seated for the rest of the class. So sorry to make you stand right up after you sit down, Robin. So feel free to find a comfortable stance, and we will start with shaking, because why not? It's a great way of bringing up the energy if you're feeling sluggish. It's a great way of getting rid of excess energy if you're feeling overwhelmed, which is an easy feeling to have these days. So just a little bit of shaking here. Feel free to sort of waggle the arms, waggle the legs. You can bounce in place and hop in place if you're feeling really, really grounded, like you can't get it off the ground today. Or if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, you can just take the feet kind of wide and just shake everything into the ground that way. And then from here, pretty traditional movement for us, and you'll probably recognize what's coming next. We're just going to start twisting side to side as we shake. And this can be a really loose twist, because the idea is with all of these warm-up movements we're going to do today, and there won't be a ton of them, we're working our way towards a comfortable seat. The idea that yoga is really just a practice to help you find a comfortable seat in meditation. So we won't necessarily be meditating today, but we will be seated for our breathing exercises. So this is all just to warm up for that. And then when you're done, just gently swaying side to side. We'll bring it back to bouncing, then bring it to stillness. And let's have the feet just a little wider than hips width distance. Arms can come out in a T. And when you're ready, we'll inhale, bending to one side, inhaling through the whole side of the body here. Exhale, come back to standing. Inhale to the other side. Exhale, back to standing. And as you inhale, imagine yourself pouring up and over to the side. Exhaling, standing, as opposed to crunching to the side. So pouring up and over to the other side on your inhale, back to standing. So feel free to take this at your own pace, the swaying palm tree movement. Want to do Garuda squats?
Sure, let me teach you.
Yes, please.
Okay, then we'll come back to center. Let's step the feet out pretty wide, maybe like mat's width distance, or maybe even a little wider. And we're going to turn the feet out to about a 45-degree angle. We're going to do something called Garuda squats. So when wondering how far out you should step out far enough that when you squat down, your knees are not going past your feet like this, but over top or even behind the knee. So if you squat down and you look like this, step your feet out a little wider. And it depends how deep you squat. So we start like this. Everything's nice long open stance. You're going to inhale, arms come up, touch overhead as we squat down. Exhale as we come up, arms come back down. So we'll do that. Inhaling, squatting, exhaling, coming up.
And again, the arms are acting kind of as a pump here for our breath. So as we inhale, the arms raise up, we're really making length through our side body. And then as we exhale, we're pushing it all down.
Filling into the whole rib cage. And then we're going to try changing the way we breathe. So when you get to the top, let's take a deep inhale here, and then come down, exhaling and squatting down, inhaling as you come out of the squat. It's just changing where we're doing the inhaling, where we're doing the exhaling.
Just to see how that feels.
And then the next time you inhale back up,
Feel free to shake it off one more time. And we're actually going to come to the front of our, well, it doesn't have to be to the front of the mat. You could really be anywhere because our feet aren't going to move, but we're going to do a half sun salutation just to kind of gently warm up the spine. So I'll show you from the side. Brian will show you from the front. My feet are about hips width distance apart, and I'm standing here in mountain posture. So my tail is tucked, my ribs are tucked, my spine is long, my palms are face out, my chin is parallel to the ground. On my next inhale, I'm going to inhale the arms up high above me, leaning back just a little. Exhale, swan diving forward, all the way down to a forward fold. And you can bend your knees here in this forward fold if you like. Then on my next inhale, my hands come to shins and I lengthen out my spine, tucking my chin ever so slightly. Exhale, forward fold again. Inhale, arms come out wide and up, slight back bend. Exhale, hands come to prayer right in front of our chest. So that's one half sun salutation. We'll do just a couple more to keep that flexion and suspension of the spine. So inhaling, arms out wide and up. Exhale, folding forward, maybe bending the knees. Inhale, long spine as we come up to flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms come out wide and up, arching back ever so slightly. Exhale, hands come to prayer. Again, inhaling, arms wide and up, slight back bend. Exhale, swan dive forward to your forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms come out wide and up, slight back bend. Exhale, hands come down to prayer. Again, inhaling, arms wide and up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms out wide and up, slight back bend. Exhale, hands come to prayer. Last time. Inhale, arms out wide and up, slight back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up for a flat back. Exhale, forward fold again. Last time. Inhale, arms out wide and up. Slight back bend. Exhale, palms come down to the center to prayer. And again, we'll shake it off. Let's warm up the arms just a little bit from here. So, thumbs fold into palms. Four fingers fold around thumbs like this. Arms come down by our side. And feel free to rotate at the wrists. If you want to make this a challenge for the whole body, feel free to step your feet out wide and come into a squat as you do this. You don't have to do that. You can just stand here too. From here, we'll inhale the arms out wide and up. And then exhale, they come down in front of you, wrists still rotating. When they reach the hips, let's switch direction. Going the other way, inhaling arms up, forward, exhaling arms out wide to the side. So already we've warmed up our wrists and to some degree our shoulders. From here, you can straighten your legs or you can keep them bent or you can come back to standing with feet at hips width distance. Either way, whatever your stance is, again, similar hands, thumbs fold in, four fingers fold around the thumbs. And we're gonna rotate now from the elbows. So just inhaling deeply as you do this. If you're in a squat, make sure to keep your tail tucked and your knees tracking open. And then exhale, switch direction. Breathing at your pace. The inhales and the exhales are merely suggestions. From here, we'll take the arms out, shake them a bit. We'll straighten the legs if the knees are bent. We'll come all to standing. And let's bring the feet about slightly wider than hips width distance, maybe about mats width distance. We're just gonna roll through the hips for a second, warming up the hips before we get down to seated. We still got a minute before that, but might as well do this now. Hitting all the bases. Warming up the arms, warming up the hips, warming up the spine. When you're ready, we'll switch direction. Going the other way. And really explore this movement as best you can. Maybe taking the hips really wide or just trying little rolls and seeing if that makes any difference. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to standing. Let's bring one hip forward and back, and then the other hip comes back. So we're doing figure eights now with our hips. And this is actually going to take us right back to another arm warm-up thing. So as you do this, feel free to backstroke, or you can put your hands on your shoulders and backstroke like this. So it's almost like the arms are guiding the movement of the hips here. If this doesn't make any sense, just do it with the arms, and then maybe allow the hips to work their way in, or just do it with the hips, and then allow the arms to work their way in. And then when you're ready, we'll just shake it all off again, and we'll take it the other way. So if you want to start with just hips, one hip comes forward, and then the other hip. So figure eighting the opposite way. If you want to start with just arms, the arms are swimming forward, either open arms like this, or hands on the shoulders, and maybe that inspires the movement of the hips, or vice versa, or neither, which is totally a great option as well. If you want to just do arms or just do hips, that's fine too. Breathing deep this whole time, letting the spine snake side to side as you do this movement. What's the last arm thing? Want to use the last arm thing?
Sure.
All right,
And then come back to center and just kind of shake it out.
Thank you.
We're gonna do one last thing for the arms. Take your arms out into a T, palms face down, relax shoulders, reach long and just make tiny little circles with the arms.
So I'll show from this side.
And if you feel like it, you can start to widen those out to larger circles. And then we're gonna switch direction, but when we switch direction, start small, reach long, make tiny circles. And then if you feel like it, you can keep making tiny circles all you want, or if you want to get a wider thing in here and your shoulders feel comfortable and safe to do so, you can make them wider. And then before we finish, we're coming back with the arms out. This time turn the palms face up, reach long, relax shoulders, tiny circles, maybe getting larger. And then last thing, switch the direction, but start small, reach long, and then widen it if you feel like it. And then we're just gonna take the arms out and down, just shake them out, shake them very vigorously. I like to do this thing where I take my palm and I turn it one way and then turn it completely the other way, trying to let the arm relax and kind of dangle from the top.
It's as if there's really nothing happening below the shoulder, and the shoulder is just the only thing making the arm move right now. The rest of the arm is a noodle. Feel free, if you do it on one arm, make sure to do it on the other. But if you've been doing this on one side for a minute, just stand for a second, see if you feel any difference in between the way your arms feel before doing the other side. You might feel like one arm is really quite alive from this shaking. It is so wonderful what shaking does to the body. Sometimes the body just straight up asks for it. See, there we go, the other's working. So from here, I'd like us to come up to a wall. I want to open up our hips a little bit more before we come down to seated. So feel free to put a hand on the wall. You can do this balancing in the middle of the room. If you do this balancing, hands on the hips is helpful. And then whichever leg is further away from the wall that you are touching, bend the knee and grab the foot or the ankle. If you have a strap and you prefer a strap, you can put a strap around the ankle and pull the foot up that way. Either way, however you're holding your bent leg's foot, let's draw the foot towards our tail and then tuck the tail, keeping the knees nearby each other here. So you might feel a somewhat dramatic stretch on the front of the quadricep of the leg that is bent. In my case, the left leg. In this case, the right leg. In your case, whichever leg you like, they're all good. And then from here, let's let go of the foot. You can put the hand on the waist if you like. And we're just gonna draw little circles with the knee. And then these circles, if you like, they're gonna allow themselves to get bigger and bigger. So maybe you're even exploring the air around you with the leg. You might be really moving that thigh around the lat, or just a little bit is fine too. And then when you're ready, we'll go the other way. So little circles with the knee evolving into slightly larger circles with very irregular orbits, if you like. And then from here, you can shake that leg out. Yogi's choice, if you have a book or a block-like object, I'm sorry I didn't warn you earlier that you might need these things, but I realize this does make this movement quite a lot of fun. Feel free to place the block or book-like object by the wall. Of course, you can do this without one too. And we're just gonna swing. Try not to kick each other.
Coordinate this.
We're just gonna swing our leg back and forth. So the idea here is it's quite similar to that thing we were doing with our arm earlier, where we're just sort of letting all of the movement come from the shoulder. This time we're letting all of the movement come from the hip, as the leg that's swinging is basically dead weight, even though it's not, but it kind of feels like it. And again, you can do this just on the ground as well. If you do this without standing on a block, just lean to the leg that's standing a little bit so you have enough room for the swinging leg to really clear the ground. And then we'll just shake that off, turn around, do the other side. So this time, I'm holding the wall with my other hand. I'm gonna bend my other knee and either using a strap or my hand, I'm gonna draw the heel of the bent leg towards my hip, tuck my hip, and then bring the knees together. So there's a nice long stretch through the front of the bent thigh here, or the bent leg. If only we could bend our thighs. So from here, we'll release, hand can come to the hip if you like, and we'll just start drawing little circles, maybe evolving out to bigger circles with that thigh, letting the leg take maybe an irregular orbit. And then when you're ready, we'll go the other way, drawing little circles and letting them evolve into something more wonderful and ridiculous. Because why not? We strive for ridiculousness after all. And then from here, you can shake that leg off. And again, it's yogi's choice. You can either stand just on the ground, leaning towards your standing leg, or stand on the block and let that leg that's further away from the wall just swing, swing back and forth. If you're practicing with a friend,
I gotta
keep an eye on them, and we gotta watch the screen.
watch the screen so I can see.
Hooray for yoga in the days of online broadcasting, so we can see how to not kick each other. This looks quite lovely. We should make a film out of this. And feel free, I forgot to mention,
Leg swinging.
feel free to let the arm, that's not the arm holding the wall, but the other arm, feel free to let that move in the opposite direction of the leg. So as my leg comes forward, the same arm goes back. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that on the other side. And then from here, we'll just shake it all off, shake everything off. Is there anything else that we should do while we're still standing that you can think of?
I can't think of a single thing right now.
I can't either. So in this case, let's find ourselves on the ground in a comfortable seat. So feel free to come down however you like. You can also do these next practices in a chair if you want. Just make sure that you're sitting in the chair in such a way that your spine is long. So that might mean sitting at the edge of the chair or something like that. So when we come to a comfortable seat, there are many different ways to sit. Some people like to sit with their legs right out in front of them like this. That's fine. Some people like to sit with the soles of the feet together like this. That's fine. One traditional seat is a auspicious pose. And what that is my legs are out in front of me, kind of open. I'm going to bend one knee and draw the sole of the foot to the inside of the thigh here. So kind of like I'm about to do Shasana, but then I'm going to bend this other knee and put the foot right in front of the foot here. So it's not like lotus where the feet are resting up our hips, but both feet are on the ground here, one in front of the other. So that is one seat that you could take. Of course, there's also Sukhasana, easy pose. That's a traditional seat as well. Everybody knows it's crisscross applesauce. Whatever your seat is, the main thing is nice, long spine. So I could be sitting like this, Or often I sit like this when I play my keyboard sitting on the ground. But the idea is that my spine is long and not necessarily leaning forward like this, but then my tail is tucking as I sit here and my heart is open, but my ribs are still tucking a little bit so it's not too open. We want just the right amount. These subtle liminal spaces are part of the fun of yoga, in my opinion. So from here, we're gonna do pranayama. We're gonna do 3 rounds of kapalabhati breathing, which for those who aren't familiar, it's a pumping breath. I'm taking off my shirt because it does build heat. The pumping breath is a forceful exhale, a passive inhale. So I'm gonna put my hands on my belly and show you from the side, and hopefully you'll be able to see what my hands are doing here. So what it looks like is this. So yeah, you can kind of see that a little bit. And I mean, the slower you do it, the more it's going to feel like the inhale is active and not passive. So you'll get hopefully the swing of this, but the idea is really focusing on, as you exhale, drawing the navel towards the spine, and then the inhale comes naturally. So we'll do 3 rounds of that with a little bit more in each round, and in between each round, we're going to experiment with exhaling and holding the breath out, as well as inhaling and holding the breath in. So at any point, if you get lightheaded or dizzy, feel free to put your hands on the ground like this and just breathe naturally. If you need to breathe, don't wait for my cue. So when you're ready, we'll inhale the arms out wide and up. And then exhale, push back down. You can even lean forward as you inhale, arms coming out wide and up, maybe even looking up. Exhale, pushing back down, possibly leaning back, rounding your back a little bit. This is a chance to warm up the spine again. And then when you're ready, we'll come to a nice tall seat. Inhale about 3/4 of the way and begin our pumping breath when ready. Make sure to keep it gentle. You aren't really forcing the breath out of you, but it's almost like you're gently sawing through a piece of wood by hand. No reciprocating saws today. And when you're ready, we'll exhale. And you have 2 choices here. Feel free to breathe naturally, so describe what we're going to do on the exhales. You can exhale all the air out, and as you exhale, fold forward. You'll find as you exhale all the air out, the belly comes towards the spine, and it gives you room to fold forward. So if you do that, exhale all the way, and just allow yourself that peace. The other option, if you have an uddiyana bandha practice, if you know what I'm talking about here, on your exhale, exhale out all the way, draw the belly in towards the spine, fan out the ribs, engage the bandha, uddiyana bandha, and then hold that. So your choice. I'll show you real quick what uddiyana bandha looks like from the side. This is a little bit awkward because I have to actually show my belly, but it looks like and then I release. So the idea is it's almost like that thing that people do when they're little kids and they draw their belly right towards their spine to see how crazy they look. And then they release on the inhale. So if you wish to try uddiyana bandha or if you have questions about that, feel free to type in. Otherwise, feel free on your exhale to fold forward. So either way, let's all take a deep inhale and then exhale completely, either into uddiyana bandha or folding forward. At the end of the exhale, you can even let out a little sigh through your mouth. And then when you're ready, inhale, allowing the belly to expand, and we'll come back up to seated. And then at the end of the inhale, exhale, breathe naturally, catch your breath if need be, and we're going to take a deep inhale, filling from the pelvic floor, the belly, the ribs, the upper chest, and hold. So inhaling deeply. And as you hold, you can tuck the chin just ever so slightly as if you're holding the air inside of you. Soften through the heart while you hold. And then when you're ready to exhale, lift the chin, release, and exhale. Very nice. Only 2 more rounds to go. I promise they will go a little quicker. So when you're ready, inhale, arms out wide and up, maybe leaning forward. Exhale, push back, maybe curving your back backwards as you do so. Inhale, arms out wide and up. Exhale, pushing back. And now for our second round of pumping breath, kapalabhati. So feel free to inhale about 3/4 of the way and then begin when you are ready. And exhale and either fold forward when all the air is out of you or practice uddiyana bandha at the bottom of your exhale.
If you're practicing uddiyana, one thing you want to do before you let all the air back in when you're at the end of it is let go of the lock first, then inhale.
So to demonstrate really quickly what that would look like from the side. When you're doing locks in the body, they follow a certain process. With uddiyana, it's the belly that locks first, and then the chin comes down and locks in jalandhara bandha. And then if you decide to do mula bandha at the root, you can lift up at that point. I don't always do that. Some people like to do that. So to do a visual for you, I'm going to exhale completely. Then I'm going to engage my uddiyana. So then when I'm ready to leave the uddiyana, I lift the chin and release the belly, then inhale. That will keep the breath from catching in your throat and making you have to cough. So when you're ready, we'll inhale deeply, exhale completely. And then we'll take a deep inhale and hold it for just a little bit longer. So inhaling from the pelvic floor, the belly expands, the ribs expand, the upper chest expands, and then the chin tucks to hold all the air in. When you're ready to exhale, lift the chin, release the hold, possibly tasting the quality of the air as it leaves your body. When we hold our breath like that, it builds heat in the body, but it also gives the body a long time to take all the oxygen that we just inhaled, change it into carbon dioxide, and take out all the waste air that we no longer need, which sometimes can have a quality to it, particularly if we've been inhaling a campfire or smoky stuff or anything that you really can taste in the lungs almost. So 2 more rounds or 1 more round, inhaling the arms out wide and up, exhaling, pushing down. One last time, arms wide and up, exhale, pushing down. Then we'll inhale 3/4 of the way for our final round of kapalabhati breathing, that pumping breath. When you're ready, exhale completely, and then it's your choice, either folding forward on the exhale or performing uddiyana bandha. Then when you're ready, release any chin locks or belly locks you have and inhale completely. Breathe normally for a second, feeling if there's any sort of subtle internal movement in the body from all this activity for the abdomen. And then on your next inhale, take a deep inhale again from the pelvic floor, belly, ribs, upper chest, and then lock the chin down at the top of your inhale, holding the breath within. When you're ready to release, lift the chin, exhale. Feels good, letting it all out. And then breathe naturally. Let's see how much time we've got left. It is 7:31, fantastic. So we have time for an inversion. Another thing that I thought might be helpful around this time of year, because sometimes a change in perspective is all we need. So if you have an inversion practice that you already are working on, like a headstand or a shoulder stand or a handstand or whatever you've got, great, feel free to come into that at any point. If you want to be guided through headstand, we're going to show that, but I'll also show you legs up as well as shoulder stand if you prefer that. So starting off with plain old legs up. This is something where you can get up against the wall. If you want to do legs up a wall, that's a wonderful inversion for those who do not feel ready for shoulder stand or headstand or just feel like taking a day off. And the way you get into that is you come next to a wall, laying in a fetal position with your hips right against the wall, and then you roll onto your back, and there you go, legs up. Most wonderful thing. If you like having a blanket, a folded up blanket under your hips here, that's a good option too. And if you're practicing just legs up in the room, feel free, if you have a block or block-like thing, you can place the block under your sacrum, so the sort of bottom of your spine here, and then just elevate the legs like this, and you're in an inversion, which is great. So that's one option. Another option, of course, is shoulder stand, which if you haven't seen that yet, my legs come up in a traditional legs up. I push down with my hands to lift the hips a little higher. My legs are way over my head here, so I'm going to bend the elbows, support my hips from behind here. And then at this point, I'm in half shoulder stand. This is a great inversion because basically the idea is the hips are above the heart here. If you want to come into full shoulder stand, you walk your hands down your back, coming all the way up, straightening through the body, and possibly drawing the chin a little bit back so you have some length in your neck. So if you're in shoulder stand, please don't move your head from side to side because it's very easy to injure the neck here since all of our weight is on our shoulders and neck. And if you are in shoulder stand, feel free to come in and out of it as need be. Brian is going to demonstrate headstand, and I'm not going to talk you through it, but I'll show you tripod headstand, which is an alternative to headstand. That basically, instead of having hands like this, your hands are like this. So, whichever you like, he's going to talk you through traditional Shirshasana.
If you want to come into traditional headstand, I'm going to turn kind of away from you guys because when I come up, I'll actually be facing you. I like to put the elbows on the ground and then grab both elbows with your hands. That's how you measure up. That's how you know your elbows are where they need to be. They're directly under the shoulders. This will give you a lot of support. We don't want our shoulders way out here in our headstand. And then you can sort of come up to this dolphin position, sort of like downward dog. Oh, and release the elbows and interlace the fingers. So then you kind of make this basket with your hands to put the back of your head into. The crown of the head comes onto the mat. Come into dolphin. I like to walk up as close as I can so that my hips are almost stacked directly above my head. And then I'm pretty much balanced here at this point. I just need to, take the legs up the way they recommend taking legs up. And also, when you're in this, you can experiment with just picking up one leg at a time just to feel how that distributes the weight. What you do from here is we don't kick up into headstand, but we gently lift our legs to come into this egg shape. Then we straighten the bottom part of the legs while still keeping a bend in the knees. And so we're like unfolding like one of those folding rulers. And then we take straighten the calves. So this is the way to get in to traditional headstand.
And if headstand is something that is very elusive for you, which is totally understandable, it was elusive for me in the first many years of my practice. There is always dolphin push-ups, which I'll demonstrate as well. So if you would like to work your way towards the abdominal strength that you need for headstand, those breathing exercises we did before are very helpful, but dolphin push-ups are also helpful. So dolphin push-ups is a similar thing where we grab opposite elbows, interlace the fingers in front of us, the grabbing of opposite elbows so that we can figure out how wide our shoulders are. Tuck the toes so we're coming into this forearm downward facing dog. And then to build the core strength and the shoulder strength necessary for a traditional headstand, you can inhale coming forward into a low plank, exhale coming back into downward facing dog. So this is for those of you who feel like you have not had enough exercise today. This will provide you with what you're looking for. So inhaling forward, exhaling back.
And when coming out of traditional headstand, we want to come out the way we came in. Fold the calves, bring the knees down. And then you can just fold out. If you're coming out of a headstand, we're going to take child's pose as our restorative posture at the end of it.
And if you are in shoulder stand, if you're in legs up above, just enjoy it. Feel free to hang out there even for Shavasana if you like. If you're in shoulder stand and you want to come out of it, feel free to draw the legs over your head, walking your hands down your spine towards your hips, and then slowly let the spine roll down vertebra by vertebra until you find yourself possibly in legs up. At this point, all of us with legs up in the middle of the floor, not on the block, feel free to let the legs slowly lower down towards the mat. And then from here, I'm going to bend both knees, lift the hips slightly, put the palms of the hands face down underneath the hips. So basically, to be frank, my butt cheeks are resting on the top of my hands here. I'm going to straighten both legs out in front of me. Bend the elbows, lifting the chest to look at my feet. Then I'm going to tuck the head back, or I guess lift the chin, and let the crown of the head come towards the ground behind me, opening out through the heart this time. So really stretching the thoracic spine here, and the thoracic diaphragm is really getting opened up in this fish posture. So this is a counter posture for shoulder stand. And then when you're ready, feel free to look up at your feet again, straighten the arms, bring yourself back down to laying on the ground.
And if you're in child's pose, you can
make your way to Shavasana.
Make your way to your back.
So feel free to come onto your back no matter where you're at. Palms face up, legs laying out to the side. And then from here, let's just shake off the body one time laying down. So let's turn the toes in and out really quickly. So the legs are rotating from the hip bones. Again, kind of similar to like that arm waggle we were doing, except now that we're laying on the ground, it's a little different. Then palms are up our side. Let's turn the palms face up, face down real quickly as our legs waggle back and forth. So now we have 4 points of waggle as we lay here on the ground. And then let's make it 5 just for the sake of being the stars that we are. So let's turn our heads back and forth slowly, side to side. As you turn the palms face up, face down, you turn the toes towards each other and away from each other, rotating at the 5 points of the star of our bodies. And then when you're ready, you can let that waggling come to a stillness. If you're like me and you wear glasses, feel free to take them off and place them somewhere to the side that is safe, where you know you're not going to roll over on them by accident. And let's let the positive effects of this cold weather practice sink into our bodies as we lay here in Shavasana. If you need to cover up or do any final stretches before your rest, feel free to do so. Otherwise, feel free to join us on the mats and just resting, softening the space between the eyebrows, softening the space at the edges of the mouth, softening the jaw. Maybe you're taking it side to side gently. Softening the heart, feeling it melt open as we lay here on the ground with our palms face up. You can tuck the chin ever so slightly, lengthening the spine. Tucking the tail ever so slightly, lengthening the low back. And last but not least, if you can, the hardest thing in Shavasana, soften the edges of your mind. And let the body recover. when you're ready. If you're ready, and you don't have to be ready, feel free to bring some life back to your fingers and your toes, maybe wiggling through all of them, all 20. Feel free to roll the wrists and ankles a little bit as you lay here on the ground. And then we'll take both arms long above our head. Legs come together, stretching long. Oh, like a pencil. And then when you're ready, you can bend both knees and roll off to one side or the other. Resting for a second in a fetal position. Honoring your body, honoring your practice. Then when you're ready, feel free to push down on both hands, bringing yourself back up towards seated, possibly taking the time to get a comfortable seat on a blanket or at the edge of a chair if that's comfortable. And again, we'll take the arms out wide and up, inhaling, a ceiling movement. Exhale, push down. Do one more prana mudra to seal our practice again. Inhaling the arms wide and up. Exhale, pushing down. And then this last time, let's inhale the arms out wide and up. Draw the palms together above the head. And then exhale the arms down, hands in prayer, right in front of your chest. If you wish to join us in an Om, you are more than welcome to Om from home with us. So inhaling deeply. The light in me sees and honors the light in all of you. Thank you so much for practicing with us today. See you next week. Namaste.
Namaste.
If you have any questions about today's practice, because I know we went over a lot of new things like uddiyana, bandha, and inversions, feel free to type in or you can email us. And this class will be archived on YouTube. So if you need to practice again, there it is. Oh, hooray! Hello, everybody. What a wonderful treat to see you all. Thank you for showing up.